Hey guys, Dan here with Battlefield Curator. Ever wonder what the value of your collectible or surplus firearm is? Well, today we're going to go over some of the ways that you can find the current value of your firearm. So I should really start off by telling you one of the ways that you shouldn't find the value of your firearm. And that is going on social media like Facebook and Instagram and posting your weapon and on a group or on a page and saying, "Hey, look at the gun that my grandpa gave me. What's it worth?" So I have a few problems with this. A, you should never post a picture of your firearm on a Facebook page and ask what the value is, because the algorithms on these social media sites will flag that as a selling post. And then that could flag the whole group or the whole page, and that could shut them down. And then it takes the moderators a lot more time to go in there and could say, "Hey, this is not a for sale post. I don't know what's going on here. This guy was being a noob." So yeah, just don't post those questions on social media sites that prohibit the selling of firearms. It makes everyone's life a little bit easier. B, this is a thing that I see all too often with some of these posts. We realize that the owner of that collectible or surplus firearm didn't do any research to even know what it is. It really shows a lot of ignorance on the part of the owner, but just going into these groups and just, "I don't know what I have." Many of these collectible firearms have markings to where you can go on Google and do a little bit of research and at least come up with a good conclusion about what it is. Okay, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Rant over. It's really hard to find an actual true value to a military surplus or collectible firearm, because the value is based upon the eye of the beholder. The one that owns a firearm or the one that is looking to purchase the firearm, whatever price they're willing to pay is generally the value that you could put on a firearm. In this aspect, it's also hard to find value if it's a rare or unique gun. Other factors that will complicate trying to find their value is demand, political climate, and sentiment. When trying to find a gun's value, it's usually based off the historic prices they were sold for. Higher prices can be a result of higher demand for these collectibles. Higher demand can be a result of many different factors. So for example, most recently we saw a spike in SKS prices, and that was most likely due to the pandemic, the riots, the political climate, and the fear of uncertain times. So first, when trying to value your firearm, you have to take into consideration the current market conditions like fear and political climate. And sometimes demand can also be positively influenced, such as being portrayed in movies, video games, TV shows, social media, and influencers. So once you've looked at the market conditions, next you want to take a look at historic auction prices. This is probably the easiest and fastest way to look at your gun's current value. So a couple of auction websites you can look at is GunBroker and Rock Island Auction. Many gun shops are notorious for using GunBroker to find a gun's value based off of auction prices. The method is trying to find what the gun sold for at auction. So when you go on these sites, try to find the same model firearm in similar condition and try to see what it sold for historically. You usually want to go back for about 3 years and try to see what it sold for within those 3 years. Hopefully you can find something that sold within this year so you can get a true value to see what people actually bid for that weapon. This method can be a little bit obscure based upon the auction method. You have to have people that are actively looking for that weapon at the time. You need bidders to raise the value of one of these firearms. And especially if you have a bidding war, which means multiple people really want this firearm really bad, and they keep bidding up the auction price, and then you might see another gun in similar model or condition go for auction a few months later and it do completely squat. So basically what I'm trying to say is there is a little bit of psychology involved in the auctions themselves, which may or may not play a factor into the gun's value. Okay, so if you're looking for a definite range of gun value, more sophisticated gun shops and more sophisticated collectors may use gun value books and subscription services. One of the most commonly used ones is the Blue Book of Gun Values. There's usually a new edition every year. And on top of that, they have a website that you can subscribe to for a fee, of course. Well, let's say you don't want to pay for a book or a subscription service. You can go to a gun shop, or maybe if you know a friend, even better if you know a friend, works at a gun shop, you can go there and see if they'll let you use their book. So gun shops can also do the same methods that I'm talking about here to give you an appraisal. So let's say you don't know a buddy that works at a gun shop and the gun shop wants to charge you for an appraisal and you don't want to pay yet again, you can use the first method or some of the other methods that are in this video. All right, another way to find your gun's value is to go to websites that sell collectible firearms. There are quite a few websites that specialize in selling military surplus and collectible firearms. See if they have the gun you're looking for on their website, and then you could be able to get a good estimated value based on what they're selling it for. And even better, if that website has historically sold prices, you may be able to see what that gun sold for in the past. I've listed some of the ones I've found useful in the description below, so if you want to see some more websites, go check them out. And while you're down there checking out the comments, don't forget to pulverize that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Guys, it really helps out with the growth of the channel, and I look forward to providing more useful content for you. So please do me that little favor. Thanks. All right, another method is to go to your local gun shop and see if they have the same or similar model and similar condition and see what they have it priced for. Take note of the price and the condition, and then come back in like a couple weeks. See if it's sold. If it's sold, then you know that somebody in your local area was very adamant about getting that weapon, and it will sell for that price. Well, let's say that you come back in about 3 months and it's still sitting on the shelf. Well, that may indicate that it's overvalued or it's just in low demand. This is actually a pretty good method to see what these firearms are selling for within your local area and to see how strong your local military surplus community really is. All right, lastly, you can just Google your firearm and see if there's anything that had been sold, any indication of value on forums. Google search might bring up a lot of results, and you'll just have to kind of filter through them. There are even some websites that do show the prices that some of these firearms may have sold for within the recent years. This may not be the best method because you're kind of just going out there and you're searching for your firearm within a large search across the whole internet. You may be able to play with the search engine filter or narrow down your search results. All right, personally, I use a combination of these methods to find value for some of the firearms that I have. I keep a spreadsheet, kind of like a military surplus portfolio. I will update the spreadsheet every so often when I find something on the web or I find something in a store that has sold for a drastically different price than what I have in my spreadsheet. The methods above are also great for researching a firearm that you may be interested in. That way, if you do find that firearm you're interested in and it's at a undervalued price, then you could make a deal. Let me know in the comments what methods you use to find value for your firearms. Have some of the above mentioned methods worked for you? Well, they sure have for me. So go out there and start looking for some good deals. Also, be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook for more content. And as always, be sure to learn history and curate history. Make it a great day.